There are over 1,696 players in the NFL, and we at Brothers Talk Ball respect everything they do to make the game what it is today. Nothing said here is a personal attack on anyone in the league, but we are fantasy football owners, and for far too long we have remained silent. It's time for us to share our voice. It's time for us to have a say. It's time for Brothers Talk Ball. All right, so welcome to Brothers Talk Ball, and today we are talking running backs. I know, it's that show. Not my favorite, not my craziest part of fantasy football anymore, and there's a reason why. The reason why I'm not crazy about the running back position anymore is, let's just face it, the league has turned into a wide receiver slash wannabe quarterback league, and real men of the past, like your Walter Paytons and your Earl Campbells and your John Riggins, and real men that used to carry a team on their back and carry a whole city with them, they just don't exist anymore. You know, we all can't be the greatest running back of all time, which is, as we all know, Emmitt Smith. Shout out to Big E. What's up, my man? And I know you're out there saying, okay, he played in the Barry Sanders era, and you're right. You can have your Barry Sanders thoughts on how good Barry Sanders was, but let's just face the truth. Emmitt is number one. But let's get off Emmitt Smith for a minute and get down to running backs of today. Now, the reason why I'm not crazy about the running back positions today in fantasy football is because the league has a lot of jargon going with it. They just like to mix and match running backs right now. They don't really have that. Well, okay, we're going to go over them, but there's only a handful, or maybe even less than a handful of running backs that carry their teams now. So when you're looking at running backs, you have to look at a running back in terms of how many touches is he going to get if he's in that number one position, because he is actually going to share that ball. And even though he might be a top 10 on most people's lists, he may not be a top 10 for fantasy football. And this is what I've been telling you people the whole time about fantasy football. Forget what you want to forget about with your favorite teams. Forget about your favorite players. Scrap that. This is fantasy football. You are the owner of a franchise that you picked, which means don't get personal with people. Do not get personal with people. If they're not playing up to your standards, you as a GM in your league need to get rid of them. Hit the brakes, kick rocks, you gotta go. If they're not producing for you, what do you want me to do? I can't keep you here. Do not be afraid to fire anybody on your roster at any moment. Now here's the thing, having said that, here's the things with running backs, especially at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, running backs take time to gel into their position. They don't really get it right away. So I'm saying for running backs, you do want to wait a couple of weeks to see if they're going to turn the corner. But if they don't turn the corner, by all means, just like that relationship that you had that you stayed in too long, get rid of them. Listen, it was good at the beginning. Everything was fine and dandy. It was honky-dory, and we were together, and it was smiles and laughs, roses and champagne. But somewhere along the line, you went crazy. Now, if you go crazy, what am I staying here for? Listen, you gotta go. Now, here's what I want from a running back in my fantasy league. I want my running back to be a very, very selfish individual. You know what I mean? I want somebody that does not like to play well with others or share. I like somebody that likes to keep the ball for himself and run. So I'm not gonna really go through top 10s and this one and that one. I'm gonna go through who I think are your best bets at running back for this position, because it really isn't worth going over the whole gamut of running backs in the league, because after looking at this list, there really isn't any out there that you're gonna fight over. So let me go with my number one consensus that I think you should have on your team if you really want to mac the running back position. And that's my boy in LA this year, Todd Gurley. The man is simply a beast. And I love that. And I love that in him. Todd Gurley, I think, is going to have the kind of season where he's going to maybe separate himself from the rest of the running backs in the league, because let's just face it, he's in Los Angeles. And that's what you want in a team sometimes in fantasy football. See, don't get caught up on how good the team is. Get caught up on how good your players are. So focus on your players. And if you have Todd Gurley, there's not much going on in LA to really balance out what he can do. So he's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get a lot of looks. Listen, He's going to give you that 100 yards to 150, 2 touchdowns, guaranteed a game this year. And that's what you want out of a running back. Because if your running back in one position gives you those numbers, it sets up the rest of your week. So that's what you want out of a running back. So you want a guy like Gurley to do that for you. Now, right under Gurley, the consensus is some people go between Gurley and they go with David Johnson in Arizona. Now, because it's Arizona, there's a problem for me. Because it's Johnson and Johnson, if you feel me. Baby powder. I keep it on me. You know why? Because I keep it fresh for me to pass the savings on to you. Another story. Now, with David Johnson sharing the ball with Chris Johnson. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going to be the workhorse and he's not going to get a bulk of the carries, because he probably will. But like I was telling you earlier, the man shares the ball. So I'm not really... Listen, I'm not saying don't take him. He is one of the tops in the league. But he is going to have to share that ball at times. And we don't know what's going to happen with injuries and what's going to happen. You know, there's a lot of balls to go around in Arizona. They got a really good receiving core and they got a really good running game. That is beautiful for the Arizona Cardinals. That is horrible for you and your fantasy team. You don't want all of that noise. Like I said, you want real selfish individuals. Only at the running back position. You feel me? Okay, so next we go to Minnesota. And we go with my boy, Adrian Peterson, now for years in this league. Adrian Peterson, minus a little bit of fumbleitis earlier in his career that he seems to have gotten over, is the kind of player that you want on your squad. My goodness, he's selfish, man. Plus, not only is he selfish, he's still one of the baddest backs in the league. Now, if you look at the team he's on, Minnesota, Bridgewater, quarterback, maybe coming into his own, who knows? Receiving core, they brought receivers in to help him out, that lessen the burden, but let's just face it, that team centers around Adrian Peterson and what he does on the ground. So you want to look at Adrian Peterson, you may want to put him in your squad, and I'm sure Ezekiel Elliott is going to carry the load for the Dallas Cowboys this year. Sorry. He's going to carry the load for the Dallas Cowboys this year. Now, the Dallas Cowboys are going to have a triple threat, and even like a really, really kept secret over there. But you're going to find that Darren McFadden and you're going to find that Alfred Morris, in games where the Cowboys have a substantial lead, you might want to think about grabbing one of them too, because there's a lot of balls to go around and they're going to pound that ball this year and hurt people this year. So at the end of the third quarters, at the beginning of the fourth quarters, when they're trying to take the game up, they're going to run that ball and run that ball and run that ball. So you really want to look at Dallas this year for running backs. Now, another team you want to look out for is Houston. But here's the thing. Now, even though I like Lamar Miller in Houston, and I know he's going to get a bulk of the carries and he's going to be a workhorse over there, the thing that scares me about this pick, I'm not saying it's a bad pick, but the thing that scares me about it is it's a new team and it's a new offense. So who knows how they're going to gel? Who knows how they're going to look? Who knows what's going to happen over there? You really got to be careful with that. Our next pick, which is Jamal Charles in Kansas City. Now, everybody who knows fantasy football knows that Jamal Charles, over the last few years, has been a devastating running back. I mean, top of the line, best of the best, good of the good, better, too many adjectives to describe him. But the one that you got to watch out for is injury prone. Feel me? The brother has tore up his ACL, I almost believe twice now. And it was a season-ending one last year, so listen, if he's on your squad, he's not a bad pick at all. But I do want you to be very careful with him this year because we really don't know what he's going to do. I mean, is he going to bounce back? Has he lost a step? Has he dropped off? You know, just a couple of receivers we're going to talk about that like that this year too. Have they just fell off maybe a little? Now, a sleep horse that I had last year that I'm still looking at to do big things this year is my boy in Atlanta, Devontae Freeman. Now, here's the thing. They fell apart last year. Ryan went crazy. Julio Jones got injured. Roddy White just decided that his career was finished and he was done with playing football. I don't know. But that three-headed horse was really dangerous at the beginning of the season, even though they cheated the Dallas Cowboys when they played them. But I don't want to go over it. That's last year. We're here now. Okay, so Devontae Freeman, I like because he's another one of those running backs that's going to have a lot of handles and a lot of carries on his team. And if he does bounce back, he's a workhorse. He's a really dynamic player, and I like the way he plays. Listen, talk about workhorse and veteran players that I think are going to have bounce back seasons, there's three of them. One of them is right here, and it's Mark Ingram. And the reason why I like Mark Ingram in New Orleans is simple. Drew Brees just gives the ball to everybody. He's a very unselfish quarterback. When we go to our quarterback segment, remember the name I just said. But he likes to spread that ball around. Now, for him to do what he needs to do, he needs a running game. And Mark Ingram, after years of sharing the ball over there in New Orleans, he's finally getting the ball. He's finally getting to be the man. And I think that's what he's been waiting for. And I think it's really going to work out for that team. So you really want to take a look at him this year. Also, my boy Doug Martin in Tampa Bay. Really, really, really good bounce back season last year. I think he's going to keep it up, and I think he's going to do well, and I think he's going to shine. Now, somebody you might want to take a look at to be on the leery side about a little bit is LeSean McCoy, and here's why I say that: because the Buffalo Bills, I believe, just picked up Reggie White, so there's going to be some ball sharing over there. Plus, injured last year. Enough said. You know what I mean? Does he have it in the tank? Is he going to come back and produce like he did in the past? We don't know yet. That's still yet to be seen. So I'm a little leery on LeSean McCoy. So I don't know what you would want to do with him, how you want to think about that. I'm going to leave that up to you. Now, somebody who's been working on their girlish figure during the offseason that I've been hearing and doing a good job at that is Eddie Lacy over there in Green Bay. Now, he's still sharing the ball with Starks, which I don't know. I don't know. And as a running back, Eddie Lacy and me over the last few years, I don't know. And I think one of the things that I don't know about him could be how much work he puts in, what his dedication is. But since I've heard that he's been working on his girlish figure in the offseason, I'm sure it's because he wants to get over that hump and actually move over that plateau and become the player that I think everybody thinks he is. So I think you may actually want to keep an eye on Eddie Lacy. But he does share the ball, so, you play that as you want to play that. Two up-and-comers that you might want to look at this year, Carlos Hyde in San Francisco. And this goes out to my boy Calvin, who actually lives in Dallas and is a San Francisco 49er. I'm going to have so much fun laughing at you this season. My feelings are hurt. But we'll save that for a few weeks from now. But he is really, really one of the only things going on there. Okay, they did pick up Torrey, your boy from Baltimore. I'll remember his name in a minute. So they do have receiver help over there. And if I don't remember it, I really don't care. San Francisco 49ers, really. Let's move on. But he was a bit of a beast, and I think he's going to shine this year. Another one is Thomas Rawls in Seattle. Now, Seattle has recommitted themselves to running the ball again. They want to get back to running the ball. They want to get back to that running game. They want the defense to not stay on the field as long this year. So I think they're going to dedicate themselves to the run. A very, very dangerous brother you want to look at, Latavius Murray with the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are one of those teams this year you really, really have to watch out for. They got a set of triplets over there. They got a good quarterback in Carr. They got, when we talk wide receivers, we'll go back to the Raiders. But they're going to be very dangerous in my books. I really like with the Oakland Raiders, and I really like him as a running back. I think he may have a breakthrough season. You may want to really look at this guy. And a lot of sharing. Selfish like I like him, okay? So Latavius Murray, you want to put him high on your list this year as running backs. I think he's going to be a workhorse in the way where he might not give you that 2-touchdown, 100 to 150, but he will definitely give you 80 yards a game plus a touch. That you could be sure of on a constant basis. That's what you want out of your running back. We have the older, the Matt Forte moving on with the Jets. Look, the Jets. The Jets have the ability to be really good or really, really, really bad. I mean, Fitzpatrick made a lot of noise in the offseason, but everybody is glad he's back. And to tell you the truth, look for that receiving core, because Decker and Marshall really fought for him to come back. And there's something that they have together that I think might open up. And Matt Forte may actually be a piece in that offense that might actually make them something. But the thing about the Jets is, and mark my words, if they're bad, they're going to be bad. So that's on now. Tennessee, DeMarco Murray is now in Tennessee, and they are committed to running the ball. Problem is they picked up Henry in the draft, who I think, well, I was actually happy he didn't go to the Giants, which is another story. Because I think they kind of needed something like that, but they're whatever, we'll get to the Giants later. But DeMarco Murray, is it an offense where he can run north to south now? Like, that whole listen, there's something going on in this league where nobody can tell the truth, because Chip Kelly got away, right? Okay, let's just do this for a second, because he did it to my Cowboy and took him away from me and maybe Super Bowls, all right? So let's just talk about what he did in Philly for 2 seconds. And everybody in Philly, if you're sad, I'm really happy for you. Good for you, because you made him do it. So he takes DeMarco Murray, so he gets rid of his number one receiver, his number one quarterback, and his number one running back. And he's supposed to be a better football team. And everybody in the league let him get away with it. And word on the street, don't quote me because I wasn't there, allegedly had players saying he was racist. But yet, everybody just let him do what he wanted to do. And it was okay. No, it's all right. He's a genius. He came out of college and he knows how to coach the program. Not to mention that he keeps his players on the field for a 4-hour football game. He keeps his players on the field for about 18 hours. And then practices them for the same amount of time. And when they complain, they're wrong. And everybody, including the towel boy and the cheerleaders, are tired. But he's some kind of genius. And on top of that, if that's not, the icing to the cake is he gets another coaching job. Moving on. Frank Gore, grandpapa in the league right now, older player. I think Andrew Luck's going to have a good season. I think he's going to come back from that injury and play a lot better than he did last year. If he does, that's going to open up a lot for Frank Gore. So Frank Gore, just based on his age a little bit, you may want to watch it. Now let me go back to Hill. Hill is sharing the ball with Giovanni Bernard over in Cincinnati. But I think he's going to get a bulk of the carry. So when I was kind of hot on him, let me take that back a little bit because I forgot that he was sharing the ball. Melvin Gordon, listen, I don't... San Diego, and this one goes up to Boogie V, who, bless his heart, since he was a young boy with Dan Feltz and Kellen Winslow, has been a San Diego Chargers fan his whole life. But being my older brother, he's never made sense. So let's just say that this actually makes sense, that he's a Charger. Who knows where Melvin Gordon's going to be and what he's going to do. I mean, he came out of college really hot. Everybody really liked him. Everybody really loved what he was doing. I have no idea what he's going to do this year. So I'm going to leave that to you. And, coming up the mix, you have Danny Woodhead, whatever. Amir Abdullah over in Detroit. Who knows what's going to happen with Detroit? That boy fumbled his last name last year. That's how much he fumbled. And he fumbled his last name 3 times. Now, if they do straighten out those problems that he has, he might be somebody worth looking at, but he kind of scares me. He kind of scares me. Now, a dark horse, a real dark horse, on a team that could be a dark horse, is Chris Ivory with a new start in Jacksonville. Now, Chris Ivory, when he's on, that boy is a beast. Sorry. That man is a beast. I didn't mean to do that. Ain't nothing but love. That man is a beast. So, if Jacksonville does the right things with him in the right scenarios, I think he's the kind of running back you may want to take a look at. It's not like I don't like what he does. I kind of do like what he does. D'Angelo Williams in Pittsburgh, another team that's going to share the ball, especially with Bell being out. But he did play well with them last year. He's somebody that you may want to put on your bench and fill in here and there. At least start the season with him. You know what I mean? And listen. That's it for running backs. There's so few running backs, I can't go on about it forever. Getting closer to the season, I mean, this is our introduction to what running backs are. Getting closer to draft times, getting closer to the year when we have our mock draft segment where we actually go through a mock draft and actually position players, and I bring the brothers in and we actually talk about strategies that each person uses on their own squad, we can go into more of what running backs do and what they look for in running backs. But like I said earlier in the show, running back is a position in the league now that you really have to be leery about, because I'm not sure there are that many running backs in the league to actually really fight over. You're going to have to fight at that position the whole season. I mean, you're going to have to get lucky some weeks. You're going to have to put people in the right position some weeks. Sometimes I even say, if you have those leagues where you can put more people on the bench, pick up more running backs and put them on your bench and mix and match a little bit, unless you have one of the beasts. And getting back to who I think the beasts are, again, Todd Gurley, beast, you want to pick him up. Ezekiel Elliott, beast, you want to pick him up. Adrian Peterson, beast, you want to pick him up. Jamal Charles, beast-ish, don't know how he's going to handle it, coming back off the injury, but if he's okay, basically, for the most part, running back is a position that may have you pull your hair out the whole season, no pun intended. So that's it for this episode of Brothers Talk Ball. Coming closer to the year, we're gonna have more brothers in going over what their likes are, how they like to play their strategy, and how they like to play their game. This is just the introduction to running backs. You know, we're going to be here all year. We're going to talk all week. So you're going to see a fluctuation in running backs too. But from what I put on my beast list, I'm sure you're going to find consistency the whole season. And don't forget, running back is a position that's scary too. A lot of injuries during the season. So you may want to watch out for that too. So that's my spiel for this week. That is Brothers Talk Ball, running back edition. Our next episodes are going to be quarterbacks, and we're going to probably fill in quarterbacks with tight ends, because if you think this list was scarce, well, listen, maybe I got 2 minutes. I can do tight ends right now. That's how short that list is. You feel me? So, for Brothers Talk Ball, I'm your boy, as always, Daryl. Come join me next time, right here, same time, same station, and let's have a really good season. And ladies, okay, let me just say this to the ladies before I go. I know some of you ladies don't get men that go crazy during football season from September to January, but listen, make us like the Borg. Join us. Become one with us. Embrace it. Actually live the journey. Because I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The sexiest woman in the world is a woman that watches ball. That's all I'm saying. And that could have came out the wrong way. If you have dirty minds out there, that's your business, because I didn't mean it any other way other than women who watch football are sexy, especially if they dress up in the jerseys and alright, that's it. Join us next time right here, same time, again, same time, same station, right here, Brothers Talk Ball.